Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zakka Jacob. There's been a major decision today by the District Judge of Varanasi that the plea to allow prayers at the Maa Shringar Gauri temple inside the Gyanvapi Masjid complex be allowed. The court has ruled that the suit is maintainable and that the Places of Worship Act does not bar from the Hindu side's plea being admitted. Now there will be subsequent hearings in which the court will have to assess the original character of the masjid complex and whether prayers can be allowed there. But first, the story of what is a historic decision today by the District Judge of Varanasi, which could potentially pave the way for prayers and offerings at the Maa Shringar Gauri temple inside the Gyanvapi Masjid complex.
Celebrations outside the Varanasi court after the verdict on the Gyanvapi dispute. In a big win for the Hindu side, the court agreed to hear a petition filed by 5 Hindu women seeking the right to pray inside the Gyanvapi mosque. The court rejected the Muslim side's argument of Order 7, Rule 11 and held that the suit filed by Hindu parties is maintainable in court. There is also no bar on redetermining the religious character of the complex.
The only issue was whether the suit is barred by place of worship or not. That was the only question.
Earlier, a lower court had ordered filming of the mosque complex, and a leaked report to the court stated that a shivling was found inside the mosque's wazukhana.
Therefore, the artificial walls which are existing beneath the wazu area has to be demolished first, because let me tell you that the arga of the shivling is still to be found.
The Muslim side had claimed that the Gyanvapi mosque is a waqf property and had questioned the maintainability of the plea.
ये जो आज ऑर्डर आया है, इससे देश में अब बहुत सी चीजें शुरू हो जाएंगी। 91 का एक्ट इसलिए बनाया गया था ताकि इस तरह के कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जो है वो हमेशा के लिए ख़त्म हो जाए। खुदा ना खास्ता अगर हम 80 और 90 के दहे में वापस चले जाएंगे तो ये हर जगह पर एक डिस्टेबलाइजिंग इफेक्ट पैदा हो जाएगा।
When the hearing commences, the court will decide if the 5 Hindu women can access the Shringar Gauri complex. But will it open a Pandora's box for other disputed religious structures?
All right, this is a significant decision today by the court. What may this mean in this fight for the Gyanvapi Masjid complex? Let me go across to Dr. Monica Verma, political analyst joining us. Maulana Masoodul Hasan Qasmi is a Muslim scholar. Mudassir Zama Khan is a lawyer with the Muslim side. Manju Vyas is one of the original petitioners, one of the 5 in this case. She'll be joining us. Swapnil Kothari, lawyer, will also be joining us. Maulana Qasmi, I'll start with you first because today is a big win for the Hindu side. The court has basically said that the plea is maintainable, that they will hear the plea, it is being admitted, and that the side or the argument that the Muslim side had taken that this violates Places of Worship Act, this violates Order 7, Rule 11, that has been completely dismissed by the court. Will you at least now accept that, let this matter go into court and let the court examine the merits of this matter?
Zakka ji, let me reiterate again, and mainstream media like you should not create hysteria over this issue. And this is not the issue between Hindu and Muslim. You should not say Hindu side, Muslim side. This is the Mandir side and Masjid side. Many people are with Masjid side, Hindu, are. Many Muslims are with the Mandir side. Many Muslims are there. So it is we are doing huge injustice to the country on the name of Hindu Muslim on this issue. This is purely legal battle between 2 brothers, between Hindu and between Mandir and Masjid people. So we should only look into this.
No, it is a legal battle, which is why Maulana Sahab, it is a legal battle, which is why we've been the Hindu side's argument has been that to say that this violates Places of Worship Act, their suit, the plea that they had moved violates Places of Worship Act, has been declared incorrect by the court today. The court in its judgment has said that in its view, the Hindu side's plea does not in any form or fashion violate the Places of Worship Act.
No, we are disappointed with the judgment. We accept
Sure.
the court verdict, but we have other option going to higher court, high court and Supreme Court. And our plea is that the interpreted section 3 and 4 of the Places of Worship Act very categorically says you cannot tinker with any place of worship which has been existing.
No. So the moot
and
point
where
here, the moot
worship
point here
being
is, and I'll ask Dr.
performed
Monica
based
Verma
on
once
other
again. The moot point here
50.
is there was this practice of offering prayers, weekly prayers. I think it was on Tuesdays where women used to go to Mata Shringar Gauri. The reason it got disbanded after the 1992 demolition of the Babri Masjid was because of a law and order situation. But to say that that practice did not exist is incorrect. So, Dr. Monica Verma, but the larger question is, if you are going to revert to practices as it existed before the Places of Worship Act came into being, then you are basically opening a Pandora's box. That is the claim by the opposition parties as well as by the Muslim side. There will be thousands of mosques in this country where prayers used to be offered before. Are you going to dig up all of them?
I think it's a matter of which questions are being raised and which cases are being filed. So I think the entire matter started when a plea was filed last year by 5 women, and they wanted to pray at the Shringar Gauri Mata Mandir, and that's how it started. So I think it's not going to open a Pandora's box, because some questions are worth chasing, some questions are worth being raised. And this is not just another mandir, this is Kashi Vishwanath Mandir, and historians and many other scholars who study the history of that place, there is photographic evidence as well that supports that yes, temple existed there. And today I myself, I saw a very old, very mesmerizing picture of how that mandir looked like. So I think it's not going to do that simply because, no one has that time to file cases over every single temple or every single place of worship which is under conflict.
Okay.
This temple, it's an exceptional case because, worshipping was taking place, and like you said, they were stopped after a certain period of time. So in 1947, we got freedom. Even in 1947, the Britishers never stopped this practice. And even this practice continued till the early 90s. And stopping something like that is devoiding people of their right to worship.
Okay,
So
let me ask Mudassir Zama Khan. I think what Dr. Monica Verma is saying has been mentioned in the order today as well, where the court is simply saying that all that the petitioners are asking is for right to worship, a practice that existed at the Mata Shringar Gauri Mandir till 92-93 when the Babri Masjid was demolished. They are not asking for a complete change or overhaul of the religious character of that place. All they're asking for is permission to be allowed to worship like they were before 92-93. That's what the judgment also says. Mudassir Khan.
सर थैंक यू सो मच, आपने मुझे मौका दिया बोलने का। मैं हिंदी में बात करना।
जी बोलिए।
देखिए सर, कोर्ट का फैसला सब लोग स्वीकारते हैं। अभी मौलाना जी ने भी कहा, मैडम ने भी कहा, कोर्ट के फैसले से कोई बाहर नहीं जाएगा, जो कोर्ट फैसला देगी। और जो लोग ये मांग कर रहे हैं, मैं उनको गलत नहीं कहूंगा, पर देखिए भगवान की पूजा करने से पहले हम लोगों को ये सोचना चाहिए कि हम पूजा किन लोगों को देश में डिवाइडेशन करके कर रहे हैं या तकलीफ पहुंचाकर कर रहे हैं। एक समुदाय को आप तकलीफ पहुंचा रहे हैं। जिस तरीके से आज कोर्ट में फैसला आने के बाद तो वहां पर नाच गाना हुआ, आपने देखा, खुशी का इजहार हुआ। देखिए अगर आपको कोई अच्छा काम करना है तो लोगों ने, मुस्लिम जिम्मेदारों ने ये बात कही है कि ये कोर्ट से बाहर हम लोग फैसला कर सकते हैं और दोनों की सहमति से जो फैसला हो वो मोहब्बत के साथ होना चाहिए।
लेकिन मुदस्सिर साहब, उसके बाद तो कोई प्रक्रिया नहीं हुआ ना। उसके बाद ना मुस्लिम साइड सामने आए कि ये बोल के कि हम नेगोशिएट करेंगे, हम बातचीत करेंगे, ये कोर्ट जाने की रास्ता गलत है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ। मुस्लिम पक्ष ने भी कहा कि देखिए कोर्ट में चलने दीजिए और कोर्ट का जो भी फैसला है, अदालत का जो भी फैसला है हम उसको मानेंगे। लेकिन ऐसा कोई प्रयास नहीं हुआ कि बैठ के बातचीत करके समस्या का हल निकाल जाए।
वो वजह ये है सर, ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं आपको बता दूं, सच्चाई ये है कि हम लोग ये कह सकते हैं, मुस्लिम जिम्मेदार ये कह सकते हैं कि आप लोग लिस्ट बना के दे दीजिए कितनी मस्जिद चाहिए और कितनी, जहां पर आपको लगता है, जहां पर आपको लगता है डाउट है कि वहां पर मंदिर था, या कितनी मस्जिदें चाहिए, खुशी से मोहब्बत से आप ले लीजिए, मगर मोहब्बत को बरकरार रखिए। उसमें पॉलिटिकल एक्ट नहीं, पॉलिटिक्स नहीं जोड़िए, उसमें नफरत मत फैलाइए। बाबरी मस्जिद का जो मसला था, अभी जो कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर किया, आपने देखा पूरे देश के मुसलमानों ने कोर्ट का फैसला एक्सेप्ट किया। और डिबेट्स में, आपके चैनल पे मैं भी गया था, डिबेट्स में ये बात रखी गई कि
नहीं तो
जो
अगर
ये
बाबरी
समुदाय
मस्जिद के संदर्भ में अगर अदालत का फैसला आप मान सकते हैं तो इसमें भी मानना चाहिए, क्योंकि अदालत तो अदालत ही
सर,
होती है.
बात ये है,
But anyway,
सर,
let me
बात
ask Swapnil Kothari.
नहीं,
I think one of the
मेरा
points that
एक बात,
Mudassir Khan is making is, this is going to open a Pandora's box. After all, the Places of Worship Act was passed by Parliament. It was a law of Parliament. The BJP at that time was in opposition. It had opposed the Places of Worship Act, which was enacted in 1991. Now that the BJP is in power and has a 300-plus majority, why not move an amendment to that in Parliament rather than going case by case and prolonging this whole fight between Hindu side and Muslim side? Because that's only going to open up a Pandora's box, Swapnil.
Yes, Zakka, I think an amendment would be an easier way out. But then, I believe that to take out an amendment at this point in time, while this matter is sub judice and possibly a few others as well, would perhaps not bode well, not only with the judiciary, but also people would be hesitant to vote on it. So I think until and unless all the cases are firmly decided and finally a quietus has been put on the issue in the courts, then I think you can put an amendment, because otherwise what will happen is that a proposed amendment itself will be challenged as unconstitutional, saying that you are trying to preempt the judicial order or preempt the judiciary. On that ground itself will be thrown out. So apart from that, now coming to the, if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen the 26-page order, and Zakka, I was there earlier also on the channel with Ridhima, and I told that this will be the order. And the reason why I'm telling you is it's not some rocket science, it's not some legal brilliance or anything of that sort. It's common first year or third year law student will tell you, who's studying CPC, the Code of Civil Procedure. We normally study in the third year of the law, but when I did my 3 years of law practice, law school, but nowadays it's 5 years. I don't know what year they teach that. But nevertheless, let me tell you that Order 7, Rule 11 is very specific, Zakka. You have to only see, and as per the several Supreme Court judgments, whether the averments made in the plaint, not on the merits and demerits, but whether the averments made in the plaint display a cause of action. If they do not, and if they come across as vexatious or figments of imagination, then the court is empowered very reluctantly also at that point in time, after taking all points into consideration, to then reject the plaint. So all of these things, whether the survey report, whether there is photographic evidence, whether there is Section 54 of the Evidence Act, all of those things, or aasta hai logon ki judi hui, and all those things do not matter. What matters is a simple technical Code of Civil Procedure point. On that point itself, the court has thrown it out. Then Waqf, of course, it talked about Waqf Act. It said that the Waqf Act is not applicable because these are non-Muslims. So they do not appeal. Secondly, nobody is challenging the ownership or questioning the ownership. It's only the questioning the right to pray. Now, on that footing itself, the court has come to the conclusion that none of these operators are barred to filing a suit. Now, of course, when the suit goes on for trial and, when the issues are framed on the 22nd of September, and thereafter the evidence is that at that time, of course, both the sides can argue vigorously on all the points that you've raised. Even the Places of Worship Act, you can argue at that time. I don't know how far that's going to hold good. But
no, so I want to talk a little bit about that, Maulana Kazmi. The Supreme Court, while giving its judgment in the Ayodhya case in November 2019, it was all praise for the Places of Worship Act. But the question is, can the 1991 laws, Places of Worship Act, bury disputes that existed even before 1991, or bury practices for that matter which existed before 1991, like in the case of the Mata Shringar Gauri Mandir? Ultimately, is it time to revisit this law, either through an amendment or even multiple PILs have been filed challenging certain provisions of this law? But has this law and portions of it outrun its course?
Zakka, in Ayodhya judgment, Honorable SC upheld the Places of Worship Act 1991, and this judgment of today is against the spirit of 1991 Act of Places of Worship.
No, but the court today has said it is not against the spirit. Kazmi Saab, आज का judgment पढ़िए, उसमें साफ तौर पे जज साहब ने बोला है कि the allowing of the plea or the admission of the plea or the maintainability of the plea does not violate, according to him, in any way Places of Worship Act. या आज की अदालत के ऑर्डर में है ये?
Sir, that is why. No. आज जब ये एक्ट बना था, उस वक्त में इसी को मद्देनजर रखा गया था कि हिंदू मुस्लिम के नाम पर, आस्था के नाम पर एक दूसरे की मजहबी इबादत गाहों पर कब्जा ना कर लें। इसीलिए दैट इज वाई स्पेसिफिकली एक्ट सेज अबाउट द अयोध्या इशू।
नहीं, 1991 के पहले तो होता था ना वहां पे मंदिर में आरती और पूजा तो होती ही थी 1991 के पहले। तो हाउ कैन अ लॉ दैट वाज ब्रॉट इन 1991 bury practices that were existing before that? Admittedly, it was because of a law and order issue. But law and order issue तो 1 साल, 2 साल, 10 साल भी मान लीजिए, अभी तो 30 साल हो गए। But let me ask Dr. Monica Verma. The question that people like Maulana Kazmi are asking is, has the Gyanvapi order today and the fact that the court has said it's maintainable, they will hear from the 22nd, has that put the law of the land as it exists, which is the Places of Worship Act, in the dock? Has it opened a Pandora's box? Because you go back to the Ayodhya judgment that the Supreme Court gave, it said, and I quote, that the 1991 law addresses itself to the state as much as it does to every citizen, and that its norms are binding on those who govern the affairs of the nation. This is what the Supreme Court said, a constitutional bench, by the way, in the Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi matter.
I think he has been repeating it constantly since the program has started that, it is violating the 1991 Places of Worship Act. But I don't come from a legal background, coming clean on that, and I don't claim to be a legal expert either. But I think you can't really, be questioning the court because there is a proper judgment, and I was following the entire proceedings in the court through tweets on social media, and I think the judges have fantastically said that this suit is maintainable because it does not, the language really doesn't say that it doesn't violate the 1991 Places of Worship Act, but they definitely must have seen some merit in the arguments that were presented by the lawyer, I think Vishnu Prakashji.
Okay, but Mudassir Khan, without getting into the merits of the matter, that of course will be known through the trial. But I think what is important is to understand that the court has said it sees no reason to throw out the Hindu side's plea. It feels that it is maintainable. It has rejected the Order 7, Rule 11 argument put forth by the Muslim side. At least now can we acknowledge that had the Muslim side, set aside its ego and sat down with the Hindu side there and spoken about this, maybe a negotiated compromise could have been achieved. But now, by choosing to go the route of the courts, that negotiated settlement cannot be achieved.
Sir, ego जो आप कह रहे हैं ना, okay, ma'am, please you go ahead.
नहीं, मुदस्सिर जवाब दीजिए आप, मुदस्सिर खान.
सर, ईगो जो आप ये कह रहे हैं ना, देखिए, ईगो जब आता है, जब सोशल मीडिया पर तरह तरह की बातें बीजेपी आईटी सेल फैलाना शुरू कर देता है, तब सामने से मुस्लिम महलों में जश्न मनाया जाता है, तब तरह तरह की बातें फेसबुक पे और सोशल मीडिया पे की जाती हैं, डिबेट्स पे की जाती है, तब उनको हर्ट फील होता है, तब जाकर वो ईगो पे आ जाती है. देखिए, मुस्लिम धर्मगुरु से जब आप किसी से भी बात करेंगे या आप उनके बयान देखेंगे, तो कोई भी एक तरफा बात कभी नहीं करेगा, कोई भी स्ट्रिक्टली बात नहीं करेगा कि हमें ये करना है और चाहिए. हमेशा वो ये कहते हैं कि किसी भी तरीके से देश प्रेम को, इस भावना को.
सर, आज आपने ओवैसी साहब का बयान सुना है?
सर, ओवैसी साहब मुस्लिम जिम्मेदार नहीं है. ओवैसी साहब एक लीडर हैं, एक एमपी हैं, एक साइड के देश के, एक राज्य के एक एमपी हैं, उससे ज्यादा वो कुछ नहीं है.
आपने आज फिरंगी मैली जी का बयान सुना है?
सर, मुझे आप अरशद मदनी जी का बयान दिखाइए. मैं उनको धर्मगुरु मानता हूँ, वो जिम्मेदार है, उत्तर प्रदेश में बहुत बड़े मदरसा चलाते हैं.
मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ कि खालिद राशिद फिरंगी मैली का बयान सुना आपने आज, या असदुद्दीन ओवैसी का बयान सुना आपने आज? मुझे नहीं दिखा उनके बयानों में कि उनका कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज की मूड में है या कॉम्प्रोमाइज की तौर बढ़ रहे हैं.
मैं वही एडवाइस आपको दे रहा हूँ सर. आप जिन लोगों के बयान दिखा रहे हैं वो मुस्लिम रिप्रेजेंटेटिव नहीं है, वो एक स्ट्रिक्ट पॉलिटिशियन है, वो सांप्रदायिक पार्टी चलाते हैं. एक ओवैसी साहब वो मुस्लिम पक्ष की पार्टी चलाते हैं, जैसे भारतीय जनता पार्टी.
फिरंगी मैली कौन सी पार्टी चलाते हैं सर? ये तो ये ऐसा हुआ ना कि मतलब आर्ग्यूमेंट को आप रेट्रोफिट कर रहे हो. But anyway, let me ask Swapnil Kothari, the political argument that's being made is by giving fodder to the fire, by encouraging or at least passively looking away from all of these issues, are we going to aspire to become a global economic powerhouse, or are we going to direct all our energies towards correcting quote-unquote historical wrongs? The second thing, and I think this is a fair argument, why should the Muslims of the modern era, the modern day and age, the 21st century, pay for the sins of omission and commission of the likes of Babur or Aurangzeb or Tipu Sultan for that matter?
Well, those two are very, very pertinent and fantastic questions, Zakka. But, in a country which is so filled with religion and coupled to that, add to that politics, both become a very, very potent mixture of, venom. And, the best way to do it is either through negotiated compromise, as you said, but then there doesn't seem to be any mood for it. Then only the judiciary steps in. So I believe that in as much as it may open a Pandora's box, but I believe that a lot of calmness will come after, the entire lava has come out. In the sense that once the Supreme Court gives the judgment, it will dispel a lot of other petitioners to come forward with similar issues on these things and try to unnecessarily try the route of the courts, because then they know what the answer is there. Now, as far as the second question is concerned, that why should the current Muslim, genre, or generation of people pay for the sins of, the erstwhile tyrannical dictators? But I believe those are the ones that then they have to push forth the earlier ones and say that, look, let's not get into this. Let's concentrate as one people and try to go ahead with the nation building the way, most modern Muslims are doing. And that's the best way to go about it. But then, you and I both know that religion, as Churchill said, that is the opium of the masses. So I believe it sometimes even tends to infect classes as well.
But so Maulana Kazmi Saab, by glorifying the acts of the likes of a Babur or Aurangzeb or Tipu Sultan for that matter, are the Muslims of India doing a grave mistake? First of all, you are accentuating the stereotype that's been put forth by left historians that, Tipu Sultan was a great person, so was Babur, so was Aurangzeb. There is this whitewashed view of history that's been taught to our kids and our grandkids over the last many, many years. That needs to change. This is, call it what you want, a historical restoration project, or if you want to call it revising history. But isn't it important that the next generations know India's history in the correct perspective?
No. Zakka, it is wrong to say that the glorifying Tipu Sultan, who is the first the freedom fighter of India. So wrong. It's not wrong to say the glorify the
Sir,
Tipu Sultan.
Tipu
Sultan is the one of the loyal.
तो रानी की झांसी कौन थी?
रानी की झांसी भी हमारे सर का ताज है, हमारे सर का ताज है।
नहीं, टिपू सुल्तान आजादी के लिए लड़ रहे थे कि अपने राज्य को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए लड़ रहे थे, अपने किंगडम को हाथ में रखने के लिए लड़ रहे थे?
अंग्रेजों को बाहर निकालने के लिए, जिन लोगों ने अंग्रेजों को बाहर निकालने के लिए अपनी जान दी, उन लोगों को ग्लोरीफाई करना चाहिए। जिन लोगों ने अंग्रेजों के लिए जासूसी की और माफी मांगी, उन लोगों को ग्लोरीफाई
आपको भी पता है, मुझे भी पता है, टिपू सुल्तान ने जो लड़ाई लड़ी है वो अपने राज्य को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए था, वो हिंदुस्तान के लिए थोड़ी ना था या आजादी के लिए थोड़ी ना था। बट एनीवे, let me go back to Dr. Monica. The government sort of not giving any official comment on this. In fact, I don't believe spokespersons are being sent on this as well. But there seems to be a degree of looking the other way. The question that's being asked is this merely being done because this is fodder for modern day politics? You divert attention or you deflect attention from the more pressing problems that this country is facing, whether it is jobs or price rise or what have you?
See, coming from an international relations background, I'm not completely going to discount the role, that such events, especially the Ayodhya judgment or what's going to happen with the Gyanvapi judgment plays. Because, internationally, you posed this question to Mr. Kothari before, but it's not only about economic side of India's rise, but it's also about the civilizational rise of India, where, these events are completely fitting. So just look at what happened in Ayodhya and then look at what's happening in Gyanvapi, and then just look at what our external affairs minister or the prime minister of the country talks about when he talks about India's resurgence. Or he doesn't talk about the rise of India, but the coming back of India. And which India is really coming back? It's a civilizational awakening.
Mudassir Khan, the fact remains that historically also there is ample proof that the Kashi Vishwanath temple was demolished by Aurangzeb. The Gyanvapi complex was demolished by Aurangzeb in 1639. And then instead of, coming to some kind of a reconciliation between the two communities, we've had these long and long legal battles. Is it not important that what was destroyed by Mughals be restored in modern day India when the BJP feels that this is some kind of a historical restoration project? Mudassir Khan.
ठीक है सर, बीजेपी इसको रिस्टोरेशन मैडम कह रही है ना अभी कि ये जो सिविलाइजेशन किया जा रहा है वो ऐसा बीजेपी ऐसा नहीं कर रही है। एक्चुअली बीजेपी सिर्फ और सिर्फ मुद्दे बना रही है, बीजेपी सिर्फ और सिर्फ नफरत की राजनीति करना चाहती है। मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ सर कि आज से 200 साल बाद या 1000 साल बाद जब अगर मुसलमानों ने ये उठाया सवाल कि यहाँ पर हमारी मस्जिद की ओर तोड़ी गई है और उसके बाद एजेंसीज निकालेंगे कि मस्जिद के कण निकलेंगे उसमें, तो फिर क्या वो फिर से मंदिर को ये शहीद करेंगे? तो इस तरीके की चीजें बढ़ाना आज के समाज में
नहीं, आप ये नहीं मानते मुदस्सिर साहब कि आई थिंक 1000 ऐसे मस्जिद हैं अक्रॉस हिंदुस्तान जो बनाए गए थे टेम्पल्स के ऊपर? ये भी एक हिस्टोरिकल सच्चाई है ना।
मैं सच्चाई देखिए सर, हिस्ट्री जो हिस्ट्री मेरा देश मुझे दिखा रहा है मैं वो मानता हूँ, मगर मैं एक चीज आपको बताता हूँ कि मैं जिस देश में अपने शिक्षा लेकर बड़ा हो रहा हूँ, मैंने जितने मंदिर मेरे सामने आए उन मंदिरों में जाके दर्शन भी करा, मैंने वहां पर अपने दोस्तों के साथ प्रार्थना भी की। जब मेरे मस्जिद का नमाज का टाइम होता है तो मैं नमाज भी पढ़ता हूँ, और हो सकता है कि मैं मुसलमान हूँ, 5 वक्त की नमाज में पूरी नहीं पढ़ता हूँ, मैं उससे माफी चाहता हूँ अल्लाह से कि मैं 5 वक्त की नमाज भी नहीं पढ़ता। ये एक आस्था अलग है। देखिए, और मेरे ही सामने मेरे घर की मस्जिद जिसमें मेरे दादा ने बाप ने नमाज पढ़ी और वो शहीद की जाएगी और उस पर मेरे ऊपर तंज किया जाएगा और मुझे लगेगा कि आज सरकार ताकत में है, मिलिट्री खड़ी है, हम कुछ कर नहीं सकते, हम बोल नहीं सकते, अपने दिल की भावना नहीं रख सकते, तो हमको दबाया कुछ लगा। ये जो मैसेज जाता है देश के पास,
सर कौन आपको दबा रहा है? ये तो मतलब वो हो गया ना कि मेरे दिमाग में ये चल रहा है तो यही सच्चाई है। नहीं, कोई आपको दबा नहीं रहे हैं। ये जो नहीं, बात सुनिए प्लीज, आई हैव टू रैप अप। ये सिंपल सा केस है। 5 औरत जो है वो जाके कोर्ट के दरवाजे पे खड़खड़ाया, उन्होंने बोला कि 1991 के पहले यहाँ पे देयर वाज वर्शिप दैट यूज्ड टू हैपन, ऑल वी आर आस्किंग फॉर इज अ रेस्टोरेशन ऑफ दैट वर्शिप as it existed before 1991. Meanwhile, some quick raps to end the broadcast, this Viewpoint. The Delhi police have issued a fresh summons to Bollywood actor Jacqueline Fernandez. The police have asked Fernandez to appear on the 14th of September. The questioning, which was scheduled for today, had to be postponed as the actor sought an alternate date, citing prior commitments. Jacqueline has been asked to join in an investigation in the multi-crore money laundering case linked to con man Sukesh Chandrasekhar. The National Investigation Agency today carried out raids in different parts of North India, including Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Delhi NCR, in relation to a case of narco-terrorism by alleged gangsters. As per sources, these gangs used to work on the behest of Pakistan-based groups. The Ministry of Home Affairs has given instructions to strictly take action against these gangsters. They're now going to be treated as terrorists under the UAPA. Gangsters like Lawrence Bishnoi, Bhagwan Puria, Kaushal Gang and the Bambiha Gang are under the NIA's radar.
A team of the officials reached here around at 6 a.m. this morning. In fact, we have been told that there are 5 to 6 people from the NIA agency, and they are currently, investigating and questioning all the people who are part of this particular residence. Apart from it, we have been told that there are different locations as well which are being raided. So there are multiple gangsters where the raids are currently ongoing. Their residences are being raided.
The Union Home Ministry has ordered a CBI probe into the death of BJP leader Sonali Phogat. This comes after the Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant said that the probe into the murder would be transferred to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Remember, Sonali Phogat's family had been demanding a CBI probe into her death ever since her post-mortem report revealed multiple bruises on her body. The Supreme Court today posted for hearing on the 31st of October a batch of petitions challenging the Citizenship Amendment Act and sought the centre's response on some fresh pleas. A bunch of Chief Justice U. Lalit and Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt observed that it would refer the CAA case for hearing to a 3-judge bench. The bench asked the Solicitor General's office to identify and segregate the petitions so that submissions can be easily advanced and confirmed. That's a wrap. Anusha joining you in a moment with the biggest exclusive.